come from Achim Awisa, in the eastern region of Ghana, close to Achimoda. But my father comes from Cape Coast, and I grew up in Takwa, going to school in Takwa, and then continuing at Achim Awisa Presbyterian Boarding School. And it was there that I left and went to secondary school. And the first secondary school I went to following my common entrance was to Takwa Secondary School, and that was in Form 3 of our boarding school. Unfortunately, my dad had passed away a year before, and so things were very tough for my mom, and so I had to return to Form 4 to finish Form 4. Arrangements for one of my cousins to help my mom and so forth didn't work out. So coming back to Form 4 and doing the middle school living certificate, and then trying the common entrance again. This time I didn't get it, and it's interesting, and so it's a situation where something that I passed. The second time I failed, I didn't get it, and so I had to go and do late entrance at in Sabah Presbyterian Secondary School. It was a new secondary school that had just been opened. It used to be a training college, and they turned it to a secondary school. So I did late entrance and I passed, and so started at the in Sabah Presbyterian Secondary School for 2 years. I was always yearning for a challenge, you know, a place, a school that was would challenge me. Unfortunately, I met a very good friend at Sabah called Francis Apalu, or Apalu Francis. We sort of hooked together, and he was also in search of good school. He had wanted to go to Adisco, Fansipem, or Swedru, and eventually he ended up going to Swedru in the second year at Sabah. So in my third year, going to the third year in Sabah, I did another entrance, late entrance at Swedru, passed, and so I transferred from Sabah Secondary School to Swedru Secondary School.
That's cool on the beat.
My future dreams are basically, at this point, I can't actually be specific, but I had always wanted to be a top business person, basically working anything surrounding business.
That's cool.
Yes, it was tough. It wasn't easy at all. Prior to my dad passing, things were dandy, things were okay. Then when he passed away, when I was in middle school, Form 2, things became a little bit difficult because it was just left with my mom to take care of me. One way or the other, I'm the only child of my mom, and so although I was the only child, still it was difficult. There were issues about going to school and being sacked to go and get my fees. In fact, at Swedru, I was always out because they always will ask me to go, and you know, I wouldn't be able to pay the fees at the first month and so forth. So I always was out in one way or the other, and that affected my academic achievements in the end. But I persevered. I had very, very good friends at Swedru. In fact, extremely good friends at Swedru who we bonded together, and up to today we stay in touch. Basic education, as I said, it was the elementary school, Ghana Elementary School, so Presbyterian Primary School, Achim Awisa, and then of course Presbyterian Middle Boarding School, and then after that to Sabah Presbyterian Secondary School before Swedru. School was very good. One, because there were two people from my hometown, Achim Awisa, who were teachers. Those they would call them masters. Mr. Owusu, English teacher, and Mr. Kwamkwachi, who was general science teacher. And so my mom went to see them and said, I've passed Swedru, and they said, oh, let him come to Swedru. And so that was what triggered me to go to Swedru. Oh, great. I was in House 1, Dorm B. House 1, Dorm B or Dorm A, I think Dorm B. And I was in arts program because I was very good with the arts subjects, especially economics, history, Bible knowledge, and of course Greek science and so forth. And at one of the speech and prize giving days in Form 4, I got prizes for Bible knowledge and history. So I still remember that very well. Yes, it was of course English, maths, general science, Greek science, history, Bible knowledge, and economics. So 7 subjects. Swedru, in fact, is one of those secondary schools or any school that I've gone to that people gel together. And so there wasn't, I'm the prefect and you guys are not, and so forth. So I do remember that at Swedru very, very well. There used to be, I don't know whether it's still in Swedru, we had one which was like the international group, and that was actually what propelled me to be interested in American field service, to write the essay. There was the international group, there was also the I think the Bible knowledge and history. It wasn't like they call it CREFE per se, no, but it was more Bible knowledge group and history society. I wasn't very good in sports, but I was good in one of them, and which was table tennis. And so in House 1, for instance, I used to play table tennis. I didn't win any trophy per se, but I was just interested in it. Yeah. Oh, yes, not necessarily in my dorm, but he was actually upstairs, and that is Senior Chibu Esiakon. He used to be the dining hall prefect, I think, and he was not an easy senior person. Oh my goodness. So he was a tough nut. He was actually in House 1, and I believe he was the dining hall prefect, Senior Chibu Esiakon, now a professor at Steve F. Austin State University here in Texas, who happens to be my good friend now. Oh, dining, yeah. So dining hall was very chaotic. We had, the senior cook was called Salami. I'm not sure that he will still be there, but he was a little bit old. And so Salami will bring, the boys will bring the food, and they will put the pantry at the beginning where the seniors sat. And so the seniors dished the food themselves, and it will be just coming bit by bit gradually to the juniors, and that is the Form 1 students. So you would have Form 5 students, Form 4 students, Form 3 students, Form 2, and then Form 1. And by the time it got to the Form 1, the food was always finished. The academics, I didn't have much challenges, but I can say this, I can confide. Once I won the AFS scholarship in Form 3, in Form 4, getting to Form 5, everything changed. And I should be very frank. And so I get head swollen, and that is something I don't want young people to have. I got the scholarship, American Field Service, to go to the United States. And from that time, I took things easy. I went to class, but I didn't take things seriously. And so in my O level, I didn't do well like I should have. So when I got to the States, that's where I made sure I picked it up, because I realized I was told about my results and it wasn't nice. And so in the States, I really did very, very well. Also did well with my SAT and ACT, knowing that if I didn't get it in the O-level, geez, this is not going to pass by. And so, yeah, I took my SAT, ACT, and my American high school diploma very serious. Surround yourself with good friends. Always surround yourself with good friends, and be able to pick and choose good friends. Once you have good friends, it may be difficult, but those good friends would always be advising you positively. Always keep an eye on your schoolwork. Take things seriously. It may be difficult and so forth, but never forget the reasons why your parents sent you to secondary school. After Swedru, as I said, I came to the States on AFS scholarship, and then after that I went to France and went to the American College in Paris. It's now called American University of Paris. So that's where I started my university proper. But I only did one semester because it was a private school, quite expensive. And after that, I went to England, London, and started at the South Bank Polytechnic. Those days they were called Polytechnic. Nowadays they universities. So I started at South Bank Polytechnic in the business and finance. I started the HND program. Because at the time, although I was in a degree program at the American College in Paris, in London, all I wanted to do was to finish and get a job to take care of myself. And at the time, I was also looking after my mom back home. And so things were not very smooth financially and so forth. And so starting my HND, my interest was to finish it in 2 years, get a job, and then just carry on. But after the HND, I continued work for a while with Marks and Spencer and doing vacation jobs and so forth. And then I went to Liverpool Polytechnic and did my DMS. That is Diploma in Management Studies, which is a postgraduate qualification. And that brought me to the level of a degree. And I specialized in marketing. Again, my interest in economics was still evident because I was always in love with economics and economic figures and so forth. And so at Liverpool Polytechnic, I did the DMS in marketing. Finished, and then got a job working for Harrods. I worked in Harrods in London for a while as a trainee manager in the toys department. Later on, I went to work for Burger King as a store manager in London, Regent Square. Those students who've been to London before, Regent Street, the Burger King there, I used to work there. After a year and a half working as a manager in Burger King, I went to do my master's degree at Staffordshire University. And at Staffordshire, I did master's in marketing. And so after Staffordshire University, I decided I was interested in teaching because I remember I had an interview with one of the professors there, and I was sort of given a hint that it looks like you're passionate, it looks like you can talk in front of people, so have you thought about teaching? I said no. Anyway, so after Staffordshire University with my Master of Science degree, I continued right away and then went to Greenwich University and did postgraduate diploma, postgraduate certificate in education. And so with the postgraduate certificate in education, I was able to, as a qualified person, teach in a college. And so my first job postgraduate certificate in education was Dunstable College in UK, not too far from Milton Keynes or Luton, I would say, in London. And so I taught there for about 2 years, and whilst I was teaching there, I felt I needed to top it up again. I didn't know how, but there was one good friend of mine who was the English lecturer, senior lecturer. He used to teach English, and so I befriended him, and as we got talking, he had got his PhD at the time from University of Birmingham. And so on talking to him, he said, well, Charles, if you're interested in carry on with this job and teaching in maybe university, you may consider doing PhD. And so it hit me, and I said, yeah, I can do this. So I started exploring that. And so this is something that if any young Swedskonian is thinking about doing PhD, like I said, befriend somebody who's done it before. Find somebody who's done it before, and also find good friends, because they are the ones that will point you in the right direction. So basically, I went to Kingston University and did my PhD so in a sense, I packed everything in my full-time teaching job and went to Kingston University as a teaching assistant whilst I was doing my my PhD. So I finished it in 5 years, and after my PhD in marketing, I looked for jobs both in UK and outside UK, and I was lucky and very fortunate to get a job in the United States at Grand Valley State University. It's in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So I started, of course, you always go through the assistant professor, associate professor before full professor. I came to Texas from Long Island University, having left Grand Valley State University. So I came to Texas in 2005 as assistant professor, but as a senior assistant professor. And I came in with the contract of we call something fast track. When you are good with research, you do a lot of publications, and you have a few years before you can go into fast track. So that was my fast track, and so within 2 years I was promoted to associate professor here, and I did 6 years. The university teaching, United States teaching profession is that you do 6 years assistant professor, 6 years associate professor before you get to full. And so by the time you get to full, it's about 12 or so years. And so when I became full professor after 6 years as associate professor, I served as the PhD coordinator in my department, and everything went very well. Several of our students that I admitted are now full professors and so forth around the United States, some also overseas. How I became the chair of department basically happened in a different scenario. Basically, our department was marketing, logistics, and operations management. It was very big department, and the powers that be, the dean, the provost, they realized that it was about time to split marketing from operations and logistics. By the way, marketing used to be the original departments, and logistics joined it, and then operations joined it later on. So when they decided to split the department for marketing to be on its own, logistics and operations to be on its own, the dean threw it to the faculty of the marketing side as to who wants to step in as an interim chair, and I threw my name into the hat. And so there was a voting that went on among colleagues, and I was basically voted. So it was with the agreement of the dean, my own colleagues who basically voted me to become the, first of all, interim chair. And after the year, the dean went back to my colleagues, and that is anonymous, all right? And they voted me 100% to continue as the chair of Department of Marketing. So here I am in that sense. This is the first book. It's an edited book with some friends of mine from Kingston University, Francesca Dalomo Raleigh and Jay Singh, very good friends of mine. So this is an edited book, very, very well referenced book on branding. And then this second book was done with a very good friend of mine also at GIMPA, Dr. Stanley Kofi. Stanley and I go back during my time in London. We used to hang out together. And also, of course, I'm a visiting professor at GIMPA and in Legon. But basically, we wrote this book together that also takes branding and positioning, but looking at it from the African perspective. The challenges, especially in my position, I've been blessed and I've been very lucky to have very good colleagues. And so I don't actually face challenges per se, but there are challenges in the job as a professor. And that is three key areas: teaching, service, and research. One that takes lead is the research side. And so when you become the chair, usually your research suffers a little bit. And so you've got to be very careful. Other than that, when evaluation comes, because whether you're a chair or you're not, you will be evaluated on those key points. And you've got to produce research. And those are very, very important. So I would say those are the challenges. And other than the usual students' complaints about faculty members, and it all lands on my desk. And fortunately too, I have a very good administrative coordinator and assistant administrative coordinator that we work as a team to manage the department. But above all, you know, when all said and done, when you go back home, there is somebody at home who you know, makes sure that my head is straightened, and that's my wife, and that's Evelyn. Of course, that has been very much a blessing for me with all the challenges I face and so forth. So she's always been extremely helpful and praise for me all the time. My keywords are try your very best. Don't be aloof. Always seek advice if you have any wish to continue education, and I hope all of you want to continue education. For those people who want to do the PhD, it's the best qualification you can get. It gives you inner content that you feel, yes, I've done my best. So my wish is that every Swedskonian should look in the direction of getting a PhD in whichever field that they find themselves. At this point in your youth, you know, work very hard and go for it and seek for any opportunity that comes your way, be it qualification, be it changing jobs for a better position or whatever. Always look ahead, and I repeat, get yourself good friends. Get good friends, because good friends always advise you very well. And if you happen to have a better half, whether you're married, also make sure you take care of them, because they are also taking care of you and praying for you. Yes, if you're interested in doing PhD in any field at all, but especially in business, reach out to me. In the States, there is the entry requirement, which is the GMAT or the GRE. In UK, there is no GMAT or GRE. So in UK, you just need your master's degree, your transcripts, good references, and you'll be okay in UK. In fact, apart from US and Canada, the rest of the world, Australia, New Zealand, UK, France, and so forth, they just need your master's degree and good references and so forth. So whichever direction you choose. And now over the years, I've done several references for people that have ended up in Europe in PhD programs, some also in the States and so forth. But if you're interested, just contact me anytime. Reach out to me at University of North Texas Department of Marketing, and I will point you in the right direction. I do have several friends in other schools, not necessarily even in Texas, but somewhere all over the United States, that I will be able to point you in their direction.